You officially learned how to start a homeschool group in the previous podcast as a nonprofit organization, or at least you have the tools and knowledge to know where to begin. Now it is time to put procedures in place so the functioning of the homeschool group is smooth, or at least as smooth as possible while you figure things out. Yes, you're going to have an idea of how you want your homeschool group to operate, and you will put those policies in place. But as you get into it, you will find there are things you couldn't foresee or a better way to manage it, and then you will change it. And that's okay. Make these procedures easy enough to implement and flexible enough to change. Hello, Rebel Moms, and welcome to the Life Unboxed podcast. I am Jody the mom, wife, homeschool mom of 6, and successful mom entrepreneur. And I am bringing you information and inspiration on raising kids, running a business, and of course, keeping your sanity. You can find the episode show notes, Rebel Mom checklist to help you homeschool confidently, tools to make your work from home life easier, and more information at lifeunboxed.blog. Now let's get into the show. So I have to say the disclaimer. This is not intended for legal advice, but for educational and informational purposes only. Basically, if you're starting out, I just want to give you an idea of the things you need to research on your own, ask questions if you're going to contact a lawyer or an accountant to help. And basically just to give you an idea of where to get started. So again, this is not legal or financial advice, educational information only. Okay, so let's talk about creating policies and procedures for your homeschool group. When you are first learning how to start a homeschool group, it is essential to create policies and procedures because these are going to clarify expectations, help everyone understand the process, and keep all your families on the same page. If everyone knows the process for things, then your homeschool group is going to run smoothly. Here are some things to get started. Number 1, communication. How will you convey initial information and how are you communicating with your homeschool group? To convey the initial information, you will need a website. This is essential, and you can purchase your domain and hosting through places like Bluehost and use Divi from Elegant Themes to design it. The benefit of this method is that you own your website, or you can use a free website from a place like Wixsite. The downside is you don't own the website, and it makes it more difficult for families to find you with a search. How are you going to communicate with your families? Will it be through email, text message, or a group app? Pick one method and stick with it. You don't want to keep trying different methods of communication because that will end up frustrating everyone and information will be missed. Email is probably the easiest method to use, but ask your families what they would prefer. The most important part of communication is that everyone knows how you will be communicating. Imagine that. Number 2, who are you going to accept? Are you open to everyone, or will you be a faith-based co-op? Will you accept students who are using a public school program? There are some school districts that offer a homeschool option through them, but they are still classified as public schoolers and not homeschoolers. So you need to decide, will you still consider them a homeschooler? Is there anything else you need to consider? Check with other co-ops to understand some of the situations they had to address for their homeschool group. This needs to be decided ahead of time in order to avoid any uncomfortable situations. If you are clear, then you eliminate any uncertainty. Number 3, will you run background checks? This needs to be determined before you even start. Since you are creating a program for kids, you will want to run background checks on all the adults participating. This may also be a requirement for your insurance coverage. So HSLDA offers guidance on background check policies, so I'll leave that link in the description below. Number 4, create a handbook. A handbook is necessary for a homeschool co-op. It will communicate your processes, guidelines, and help you to handle difficult situations. While you want your handbook to convey your guidelines for for you, how you run your co-op, and your expectations for those participating, you don't want it to be a 60-page tome. Here are some things to consider as you pull it together. General policies. So attendance, like how often do you expect people to attend? Sick children, background checks, building care, class information, dress code, electronics policy, communication, fees, guests, lost and found, severe weather, and anything else that pertains to your specific homeschool group. You also want to include responsibilities during co-op, the board, admin team, co-op jobs, parent roles, and teachers. Classroom policies, nursery specific, preschool through high school, bathroom policies, expectations, behavior standards, code of conduct, standards for relationships, safety, and emergency guidelines. Teacher policies, accountability, terms of agreement, ethics, grievance, honor code, selection, registration process. Family policies, confidentiality agreement, directory information, beginning semester meeting, parent responsibilities, record keeping, misconduct policy, substance abuse policy, weapons policy. Building evacuation procedures, lockdown and shelter in place, fire evacuations. Now, this is just a general idea. The building that you are meeting at may have certain policies as well, so check with your host to understand their requirements. If it is a church, they may already have classroom policies in place that they want you to follow. They will also have procedures for building evacuation and shelter in place. Following the policies of your host may be part of your agreement to use the building, so start there and build on that. Number 5, insurance. Every homeschool group is different, but there is a common thread of hosting events, activities, and meetings. All these come with a measure of legal liability, and insurance is going to keep your organization protected financially. Typically, you will want to have liability insurance, and this provides a safety net when something goes wrong. Someone gets hurt, blames you, or sues you. The cost of liability insurance, in my experience, so I'm sure every group is going to be unique, but this is just to give you a ballpark. And so it depends on the number of people involved. And so it's best to discuss the cost with your insurance provider. But I have found that liability insurance is between like $11 to $13 per person. And then there's also directors and officers insurance. And this is protection for the people in charge when someone tries to hold them personally responsible for something the organization did or didn't do. The cost of this insurance is usually a flat rate, and this will also need to be discussed with your insurance provider. Okay, so that's kind of like nitty-gritty admin paperwork stuff. So let's talk about getting teachers for your homeschool group. If you're going to have a homeschool co-op, then you need parents who are willing to teach. So think through this process. Are there certain classes that you won't accept? How will you decide which classes to accept? How will teachers pay for materials? Can they collect fees from parents? Is there a cap on how much can be collected? Will you pay teachers? Are they volunteers? Will any fees be waived for them? Will there be an application process? What does that look like? How will you get the class information from the teachers? How will you give the information to the parents? Just like any process, think through as much as you can. Just know that you will adjust it, and that's okay. Always look for ways to learn and improve. Get the teacher's feedback and incorporate good ideas. And now the registration process. So this is another process that you really need to think through. How will families apply to your co-op? Will there be a separate process for new families and one for returning families? What does that look like? How will parents pay fees? Will you collect all the fees, or will the teachers collect their own fees for classes? If you're going to be a faith-based co-op, do you need a vetting process in place? Even if you aren't a faith-based co-op, you may want to have a vetting process in place as well. Starting the semester. Now it's time for the fun to begin. The start of the semester. How will you start it? Does it start with a parent meeting so you can convey information? Fees can be paid and teachers can be met. or will you just jump into classes? Think about what will work for your families, the venue you are using, and the easiest way to communicate important information before you officially start classes. Your homeschool group administration team. You have the board of directors, which is a board of directors, which is a great leadership structure, but you need people who will actually carry out the day-to-day running of the homeschool group. Who will these people be? If a homeschool co-op is going to grow and continue, then you need to put people and processes in place that can do it. It can't just be a one mom show. And let's be honest, we're all homeschool moms. That means there's an expiration date on how long we will homeschool. A homeschool co op needs to grow beyond the people who started it. So, here are some suggestions for positions you may need within your administration team. Communications manages all co op communication channels, including emails, newsletters, website updates, and social media. Ensures members are informed about schedules, events, and announcements in a timely and professional manner. Registrar oversees class registration and student enrollment, maintains accurate rosters, assists families with registration questions, and manages class availability. Teacher coordinator serves as the main point of contact for teachers, assists with class planning, scheduling, and resource needs, supports teachers in following co-op policies, and helps resolve classroom-related concerns. Parent volunteer coordinator organizes and assigns volunteer roles for parents, ensures all required positions and duties are filled for each co-op session, communicates volunteer expectations, and tracks participation. General administration supports other team members to ensure smooth running of the co-op, keeps accurate records, manages paperwork, and helps with meeting logistics. Starting a homeschool co-op as a nonprofit organization is a big step, but it's one that brings incredible rewards. You've learned how to get started, what to plan for, and how to put systems in place that make your group function smoothly, or at least function with manageable amount of chaos. So remember, you don't have it all figured out from day one. Your policies, procedures, and leadership roles will evolve as your homeschool group grows. Flexibility is your friend, and don't be afraid to make changes. Learn from experience and simplify where you can. At the end of the day, your co-op is about community, families coming together to support one another in this crazy, wonderful homeschool life. And if you are ready to actually do some of this stuff, then be sure to grab the Gather, Grow, and Learn educational guidebook, which is going to go deeper into all of these things that we touched on. You have over 50 pages of information plus 20, I think more than 20 templates to use for your co-op as well. So thanks for listening. Be sure to check out lifeunboxed.blog and download your Rebel Moms checklist. Happy homeschooling and working from home, and I will see you next time.